Welcome to episode 9, season 1 of One Tree Hill. Let's get into it.
Look, you're cool with us being just friends, right? I mean, we're friends, right?
We are. Hey, say hi to Brooke for me. All right, talk to you later.
So are they like a couple now? I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Okay, she didn't seem surprised by that, so clearly this is something they've been doing.
When you leave this gym today...
We actually haven't had any, like, Whitey in basketball in a while.
If I read the book, you do something for me.
Like what?
I don't know, something fun.
Okay.
Like a date.
Deal.
Should we shake on it or just make out now?
But hey, Peyton just made it clear, you know, like an hour or two ago, whatever, that same day, that they are just friends, so...
Need some help?
No, she's fine.
I know you claim you're taking over the cafe. It's not some sort of payback.
It isn't. I'm trying to help Karen.
It's called being nice to somebody.
That's the worst cup of coffee I ever paid for.
If you've come here to mock me, Dan, save it.
I didn't come here to mock you. I had a few hours.
Really?
Thought maybe my wife could use my help. Clearly she can.
Ooh. Well, clearly he knew that his mom wasn't there, so I assume he knew that Deb was going to be there, so he was okay with seeing Deb.
I'll start cooking again, unless your mother comes to her senses.
You know, just when I think things can't get any weirder around here, Mom takes over Karen's cafe. I think I'm gonna invite Lucas over to spend the night.
Well, your mother hasn't exactly been herself lately. It might help if you tell her you're happy. She thinks I've ruined your life. Cove City game's coming up.
So you want him to lie? You don't even care if he is happy, just tell her you're happy.
Of course, you know who scored the most points against the Cavaliers. 42.
Yeah, I'm looking to top that this week.
No, you won't. You want to know why? Because you're not tough enough inside.
This? I'm
happy, Mom. Dad loves me.
Oh, I'm really starting to like
He was wondering where his mother was.
Oh, fuck off.
How about you eat first, then we argue?
How about we just not argue?
How about we just don't eat?
How about we just don't stay married? That sounds like a good solution.
Is your brother still dealing?
Why?
Because I need to tear it up against Cove City. Not weed, Tim. Performance enhancers.
Oh, Nathan. I mean, it's inevitable. It's a teen drama. Drugs have to come in at some point.
Look, don't you find it a bit strange? Having Nathan's mom running the cafe?
Yeah, it's a little strange.
I love Keith. He is perfection.
Why does she stay with a guy like that?
I don't know, maybe she wants to protect her son.
Except she's not been there to actually do that, so I wouldn't necessarily believe that's the answer.
You gotta be careful, Nathan.
Whatever gets me jacked for Cove City, man.
Yeah, these will definitely do that.
This is gonna go really well.
Nathan, you got to get off his back!
Why don't you get off my back, Whitey?
I say steroids make you angry, so if that's what they are.
Nathan!
What? Huh? What the hell do you all want from me?
Actually, I don't know if that's actually true. I know some people says it is, some says it isn't. So, but clearly, One Tree Hill is going with that it is true.
Very funny.
Hey, are you okay? Lucas said you had some trouble at practice
no.
yesterday.
Lucas needs to mind his own business.
He's gonna mess stuff up with Haley.
You okay? You're shaking.
My heart's racing, too. That's what happens when I'm around you.
Oh God.
So your house tonight, right? Tutoring?
So it also happens when you're about to have a heart attack from drugs that you're on. Another one. Assuming that's probably not a good idea, considering you clearly haven't let the other one wear off yet.
Came here to talk about Nathan. His behavior concerns me.
You put Lucas on the team, give
Dan
away his
won't hear a
position,
word of it.
kick him off the team bus 30 miles away from home, and now you're worried.
It's the only valid point Dan has.
Pressuring him and belittling him. Of course, that happens at home, doesn't it?
I did love the game. I simply despised the way you controlled it.
Who's controlling Nathan now? Be a shame if he learned to hate that person like you hate me.
I might be tough on him, Whitey. But then I'm not the one who told him the sun wouldn't rise if he lost his next game.
No, you've said a lot worse than that. Just like in the last conversation you had with him.
I know you're under a lot of pressure from your dad.
Hey, you don't know anything about my dad, all right?
1 step forward, 8 steps back.
Thank you, Gretchen and Henry.
That's Pam from Supernatural. Yay.
I didn't know you could shoot pool.
There's a lot you don't know about me.
Really?
Yeah, considering you guys have barely talked. You don't really know each other.
I have fun.
Sure you do. Lucas, you're like the most serious guy I've ever met.
So did she like make up a fake ID for Lucas? Because I feel like Lucas wouldn't have one already. Oh, are they going to take it too far and freak her out?
I think you should go.
You're kidding, right? Haley. All right, Haley, I'm sorry. We can study. It's fine.
No, it's not. But hey, I wanted Nathan to backslide. This is a little more than I was expecting, but...
So what's your take on tattoos?
I don't know.
She's going to make him get a tattoo? Or does she have one she wants to show him?
What do you think?
Okay, she's going to show him one.
Tattoo is very, very sexy.
But I have noticed that Brooke also felt like she needed to get Lucas drunk before she could, like, fully make her move. Which, again, I feel like plays into the whole confidence thing. Yeah.
Keith! Hey, man.
You okay?
I'm perfect. Have you been drinking?
I love Keith.
And you think you're going to break my scoring record?
You don't shake your head. I'm shaking my head at you. You're the one who's ridiculous.
What's up? Nothing. What are you hiding?
He got a tattoo.
It's an ancient symbol for fun. Oh, for fun? Because I thought it was for freaking fool.
Your mom trusted me.
It's just a tattoo.
It's a tattoo. There is no just. God, what were you thinking?
It sounds like a deal.
You and Brooke Davis, please.
What? That's so strange?
Yeah, it is.
Like her and Nathan?
I've been kissing Nathan.
If I told you not to do that anymore, would you listen?
Would you?
Maybe.
So what about Peyton?
I told her how I felt, right? She doesn't feel the same way.
Yeah, he's not wrong for doing anything with Brooke. He laid it out there and she made it clear.
Lucas Scott.
Yep. You didn't tell me you were such a good kisser.
Look at that face fall. Peyton, you had plenty of chances.
Hi.
So what do you think?
About what?
Long counter here, some retro booths.
I don't follow.
Deb's Diner, the hottest little place in town.
I thought he was like just a restaurant.
But what's this really about?
You tell me.
He is so punchable.
Do you think second chances are a lie?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it depends on who you're dealing with, I guess. Yeah. How are things going with you and Nathan?
Not so great. I don't know what he wants us to be. Are we a couple? Are we just hanging out? Is it for sex? Because if it is, that's not enough for me.
Bad experience.
No experience.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah, sort of I am.
Good for you.
I liked that response. I think that might be like the first time ever I've seen a teenager not be like embarrassed or ashamed of being a virgin.
Did he tell you about Brooke?
If they went out, yeah. You okay with that?
Clearly not.
Is connecting with someone really this complicated, or is it simple and we just make it worse?
For me, it's complicated.
You kind of make it worse than it needs to be.
Let me see it.
Ugh.
Jeez, Luke.
Yeah, it's not supposed to look like that.
We'll get it checked before the game.
Keith, man, you worry too much.
I gotta worry once for myself and once for your mother.
I have to be at the cafe, so I'm gonna miss your game. Good news is Haley can be there.
Whatever. At least one of us will be there.
You motherfucker. Oh, I want to punch him so much. Right in the throat.
Nathan.
Not now, Haley.
Okay, after the game, can we get some food and talk?
Haley, I said not now, okay?
Why are you being like this?
Because I can. That's how it works. People are mean.
What is your problem?
And in 5 minutes, if I'm not perfect, they're gonna eat me alive. That's my problem.
I wasn't expecting it to be this bad. Like, I wasn't expecting him to be that mean towards Haley. I figured he might mess things up a little bit, but this is pretty rough.
That's 38 points for Nathan Scott tonight, and we're early in the fourth quarter. He's 5 points from breaking the all-time...
I'm sorry. I know you guys love him. He annoys the crap out of me. At least it makes sense when he announces it at an actual game. Like, that makes sense. Sort of. I mean, you know. Whatever. It's better than, like, at the park.
Easy, son. Just keep your eyes on the game. Time out. Coach, you better watch your boy.
Was he a referee in The Replacements? His voice sounds really familiar, and he kind of... Or a coach. He was a coach. Like the other team's coach. He needs to go to the hospital. Yep.
You collapsed during the game.
You're gonna fucking learn a lesson from this, Dan? Probably not.
So how about you play a little more doctor and a little less detective?
That's kind of part of being a doctor. Why don't you just go sell cars and let him do his job?
Look, Doc, I appreciate your concern, I really do. But I gotta tell you, I know my son.
You don't know shit about him.
How is he?
Who?
Nathan.
Dan didn't even fucking call her?
How you doing, son? He's okay.
Where is he?
Missing. But he's fine. Was it worth it, Whitey? No, it's not really his fault, but he also applies the pressure pretty hard as well. Which I think he actually will feel bad about it. Unlike Dan.
You know why they made whiskey, Keith? For the poor fool that wakes up after 35 years and discovers he's part of the problem. I'll forfeit the damn games before I lose a boy to that.
I tried to call you, you weren't answering your phone.
Because I ran out of the cafe with nothing but my car keys and the fear that my son was dying.
Oh, and that's my fault.
After Haley walked in.
You're overreacting.
Overreacting. That my son nearly died.
Is this it? Please let this be it. Please let this be the moment.
Get a hold of yourself. The doctor said he's out of harm's way.
Well, the doctor was wrong. Because as long as you control him the way you do, he'll be in harm's way.
Oh, okay, I get it. I'm to blame. It's gotta be my fault.
Yeah!
If you went off helping your little friend Karen in her cafe, you might have been there for him like I was.
You smug son of a bitch.
Yes, Deb.
I want you out of this house.
Deb.
I said, get out!
It's been an emotional night.
No, Dan. It's been a night of clarity. And it's time for you to go. I'll say it one more time, Dan. Pack a bag and get out. Or so help me God, I will stab you in your sleep.
Oh, shit. Well, that escalated quickly. Jesus. Damn, Deb.
Do you really think Nathan would choose you over me?
In a heartbeat. He fucking hates you, Dan.
I really hate the way we ended things.
So do I.
He broke out of the hospital to go see her?
How are you?
Not so good.
It's okay.
No. No, it's not okay. I'm not okay. I'm so terrified. Then I saw you. I promised myself that if I could just get up, I'd walk over to you and tell you how much I need you. Nothing else matters.
I mean, I feel like this is really sudden for him to have these big feelings like this, but it's still sweet.
Lucas, I made a mistake. I got scared and I pushed you away, but the truth is, I want all the same things that you want. I do. And I want them with you.
Okay, superstar. I knew it. I knew Brooke was going to be there. Oh, fuck. And she's wearing his sweatshirt. Wow. I mean, I feel like you don't have to cancel it. Just change your coaching style.
Can I stay with you tonight?
He's not going to have enough energy to try anything. So I think you're good to let him stay. Awkward. Someone say something. I kind of really like the way this scene's laid out. Like, the blocking and stuff, like where Lucas is literally in the middle of them two, and he has to like change directions to look at either one, and like they can look at each other. I don't know, something about that I think really symbolizes that situation really well. Okay. Whew. All right. This was another episode. Lucas, this might be the first time that Lucas actually kind of annoyed me a little bit. I get like going out and drinking and having a fake ID and being on this date and trying to have fun and all that. That's fine. That's normal teen stuff. And even getting a tattoo, I'm almost okay with. Like, teen rebellion, fine, whatever. I have a tattoo. I got it in college. I didn't tell my parents about it until like a year later. I get it. But it was his reaction to Keith. Like, when Keith was trying to rightfully scold him, basically. And Lucas was just like really dismissive and like really upset by it. Like, almost like he was just confused that Keith would even say these things. And like, it's just a tattoo, which in the grand scheme of things, yes, it is just a tattoo. It's not that big of a deal. But it's the larger issue of him rebelling and, you know, also not being smart about it, obviously, because it's already like majorly infected. And there are risks that come with it. And clearly Lucas didn't think about any of those things, which is why, you know, teenagers aren't allowed to get tattoos. So yeah, for me, it wasn't really what he did. It was just the response to Keith afterwards that really irked me with this. But again, Lucas was almost too perfect. So we need him to have moments as well where, you know, he has some not so great character moments. Brooke in this kind of went back a little bit to her, you know, kind of like overtly sexual ways, which again, you're not just going to like all of a sudden drop that. That's been your mask that you've been wearing for who knows how long. You're not just going to change that all of a sudden because you let your guard down or let that down like for one night with somebody. So I'll be curious to see how she interacts with him moving forward, like as they start to get closer. Is it going to still be that kind of facade that she puts on, or is she going to more and more like be who she truly is? Peyton, I want to feel bad for her, and I guess I do feel bad for her, but like she had so many opportunities. And as soon as she found out that he was, making out with Brooke, then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I want to be with him. Which I get, like, you don't realize what you truly want until you know, like, you can't have it and all that stuff. But that's also still a game, and that's not fair to Lucas. Which is why I've said before on the show that she needs to take some time to figure out for herself what she truly wants and, like, who she truly is before she tries to do all this, because she's just going to wind up messing with people's heads like she has been with Lucas. Not intentionally, but I mean, when she doesn't know what she wants, how is anybody else supposed to be able to know? And if she changes her mind a lot, how is anybody else supposed to be able to keep up? So Lucas is not in the wrong. Brooke is not in the wrong. And Peyton is just kind of SOL at the moment because, like, I'm not going to say it's her fault, but I mean, Lucas put it all out there for her. And understandably so, it was overwhelming. That's fine. That's not even, I can't fault her for that either. But she hasn't been communicating with Lucas. She hasn't been explaining anything. She hasn't really said why she freaked out to him. She hasn't said, hey, listen, like, I do like you, but that was all a bit much. And I kind of just need some time. I need some time to process things. I need some time to not be in a relationship right now. I need some time to sort through some of my own stuff. Like, I need time. And Lucas would have been fine with that. But she kept it all bottled inside, as she does. And he moved on. All right, we're going to do Deb and Dan first. Before we get to Haley and Nathan. Yes, as I mentioned in the episode, that did go so much faster than I thought. Like, I figured a Deb and Dan split would be like maybe into the season. Or even into next season. I didn't expect it to be like an episode or two later after I talked about wanting them to get divorced, or at least split up. So that did happen very quick. Again, understandably so, given the circumstances. But I feel like everything in this episode just was escalated so high, so fast. Just in general, with like the disdain between the two of them, like he's always made his snide remarks and she's kind of started to shoot back a little bit. But this episode, like, you would think that those two people had hated each other their entire lives. Like, you would never guess that those two people had ever been in love at any point. And I would have thought it would have taken longer to get to that point. But him not calling her and just the way that he was treating her throughout this whole episode, I mean, the whole series so far that she has been in it, but especially this episode, I get why this was finally her breaking point. Absolutely. I feel like telling him that she was going to stab him in his sleep if he stayed was a touch dramatic. It did the job. It clearly worked. He left. But I was not expecting that. She took it to 100 real fast. I probably wouldn't have done that. But again, I don't really know Dan's limits. I don't feel like he would get physical with Deb. I don't see that. I could be wrong. We have since found out he's been physical with Nathan, but that's, Nathan as a child. Somebody that he definitely feels like he can control. And dominate, whereas I don't know that, in this moment he feels like he can do that with Deb. Dan is a coward. Dan will only stand up and like be aggressive with people that he knows he can dominate. He would never do that with somebody that actually had a shot of fighting back. Again, this is just what I know of the character up to this point. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem that way. And so I don't think he would be physical with Deb. But again, I don't know that. So maybe she felt like she needed to make that kind of threat to get him out of the house and get him away from Nathan. So, which I am kind of surprised when he said it's my house, which I realize he has the car dealerships, but it was made very clear that like Deb's family has money and Deb has a very good job, or at least did. So when she said, I want you out of the house, I just kind of assumed it was her house. But yeah. Anyways, that was interesting. I'll be curious to see how that progresses and if Dan ever tries to apologize, which I have said So in the comments, especially on Patreon, because I have some amazing people over on Patreon, some awesome One Tree Hill fans who are very active in the comments. And you know who you are. Like, you all are amazing. I'm not going to name because I feel like I'm going to leave somebody out right now, and I don't want to do that. But you know who you are. And I have said in those comments to them that, like, I cannot stand Dan, but we're not supposed to be able to stand him. And I love the character of Dan in the sense that he is a fantastic villain. He is so perfectly bad. Like, every time he is on the scene, it's very clear. I get visibly angry, borderline violent. Yeah, he just brings out those emotions, but that's because he is such a good douchebag character that, like, you want to do those things. Like, he brings out those emotions in you. So I hope that they don't give Dan a redemption arc. I feel like there could be moments where, just like Nathan, he can turn on the charm. And sorry if you see dog hair floating around, is what happens when you have 2 dogs. But I feel like he could turn on the charm and maybe sweet talk Deb into coming back. I hope not. And I feel like this is pretty bad at the moment. So I could see him almost faking sincerity to get, his wife back and his son back and his house and his, perfect little life, but not actually meaning it. And I hope that he doesn't actually mean it. I don't want Dan to have a redemption arc at any point in this show because he is so perfect as the bad guy. Now I have heard the actor that plays him is really nice, which is good to hear. But no, the character of Dan, I love to hate. And I hope I can continue to hate him. All right, so Nathan and Haley. I'm really glad that we got this ending of this episode with Nathan and Haley because I was really worried that Nathan was I thought this was maybe gonna drag on. I didn't know that he was gonna pass out in this episode. I thought it might continue on and maybe be like a larger thing where he does become addicted and he has this problem. And if that was the case, I figured for sure he would drive Haley away completely. But it didn't get drawn out. It was just this one episode that I know of. But at least it's come to light-ish. I mean, he hasn't technically admitted it to anyone. But I really liked that it was resolved between the two of them. Because I didn't want this to be the thing that just shuts it all down. Because I don't feel like they've been together long enough for it to be strong enough for them to come back if this was it. If he really, truly unscrewed it up this time. I was not expecting Nathan to break out and go to Haley's house. That was, awful. He should definitely be in the hospital still. But, so I'm not going to lie. I was kind of having difficulty buying Nathan and Haley and believing in Nathan and Haley. It's sweet, it's cute, but it just felt like a lot really fast. They hadn't given me, I don't think, enough scenes with the two of them together where they weren't fighting and they weren't butting heads a little bit, because she was very combative in the beginning towards him. Again, understandably so. But I just hadn't gotten enough to get really truly invested and on board and buy their whole thing. It was cute and sweet, but again, the big emotions. But him breaking out of the hospital to go to her, not even just to apologize, which I think that was part of it, but really more just he is in his most vulnerable that he has probably ever been in his entire life. He feels like shit. He was terrified and all he wanted was to just be with Haley. And that sealed it for me. Again, those emotions at the beginning, I said these are kind of big emotions and kind of fast, but I don't know, that did it. That definitely helped me get more on board with the whole Nathan and Haley thing and buying that they have a real true thing here. So yeah, that was maybe my favorite thing about this entire episode, was him showing up at her house to just be with her because he feels terrible in every way possible and he just wants to be with her, which is so sweet. So yeah, no, this was another really good episode. I am ever since episode 6, with each new episode, I'm getting even more into it. I will still give my honest opinions. So don't be afraid that because I'm now liking these characters, I won't do that. I don't know who that one guy is. People call him Mouth. I don't know. Is that actually, I guess he said his name was Mouth. Well, nickname. He still annoys the crap out of me. I don't get the point of that character. And he could be lifted right out of the show and it would not change it one bit, which I know a lot of you love him. And maybe I'll get to that point, but I am not there yet. But everyone else, I'm so on board with. Karen still isn't my favorite, but we're going to have her. She's gone, which I know I said in the previous episode that her trip to Italy seemed really sudden. It has now been explained, thanks to the awesome people on Patreon, that the actress, had to go on maternity leave, which makes total sense. Absolutely makes sense now. Why it kind of came out of the blue and seemed a little sudden, and the period of time. So yeah, I'm good there. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what they do with her character when she gets back, because she still is not my favorite. I don't know what it is. There's just something about she's not my favorite. I love the whole her and Keith thing. Karen and Keith together. I think it's super cute and sweet. And the moments when I like Karen the most are when she's with Keith. But I feel like, I don't know, something about her and Lucas's relationship bothers me a little bit, that he feels like he always has to like protect her and apologize to her and be there for her. I feel like he walks on eggshells a little bit too much around her. And maybe that's a Lucas thing. Maybe it's not a Karen thing, because he does kind of seem to maybe have a white knight vibe going on. But, which I'm going to piss a lot of people off because they don't agree with this. But I know from conversations with some of you that some of you do agree with this. So in that aspect, he is a lot like Ryan Atwood from the OC. Lucas is a white knight. Like, he will try to always go in and save the day and protect everyone. He's done it with Peyton multiple times. Like, he does it with his mom constantly. So he just has that in him. So again, maybe it's a Lucas thing. Maybe it's not really a Karen thing. Maybe she hasn't really done anything to make him be that way. That's just how he is. But yeah, right now, Karen is still not my favorite. I would say of the main cast, besides Dan, she's actually probably my least favorite. Again, that could change. But yeah. All right. So yes, love this episode. Excited to continue on. Thank you so much for being here. If you are watching this on YouTube, I do have that Patreon where you can get the full reactions, early reactions, bonus. Going to be some exclusive at some point. So yeah, feel free to check that out. The link is in the description. And if you are watching this on Patreon, because you are one of the amazing people who watches my One Tree Hill videos on Patreon, I love you. You're incredible. And I'm super excited to hear what you think about this episode, because I know we'll be talking about it. All right. Thank you so much. And hopefully I will see you in another video.